What's up, Team Metal? GH15, Red Metal coming at you nocturnal, driving around like a fucking moron on no carbs. Alright, so I did a video blog the other day, my first in a while, where I basically just rambled like an asshole for 10 minutes and then deleted the thing because I couldn't imagine anybody wanting to watch it. So I'm going to try to do a better one here. So far, the first 30 seconds are fucking excellent. A few things I want to talk about. Namely, at the moment, I've got a bunch of young kids in the range of 16 to 21 who are competing, which I find to be really excellent. Everybody on the forums, I respect everybody there, and I know that we're all there for a common purpose. And, you know, there's people that don't compete that have fantastic physiques, better than mine. And I have to respect everybody's wishes, or I should say everybody's individuality and their, attainment of their goals. But for me, I would never train nearly as consistently or diet ever. I would never diet, ever, ever, ever. I would just be fat as shit if I didn't have a contest in mind. And moreover, I would never do it correctly if I hadn't failed in my contest preparations previously. A friend of mine posted something on Facebook, which is a barren wasteland of fucking morons. But this kid actually, I grew up with, he had my back since day one and still does, has everyone's back, really cares about people. And he posted something that was really important, I thought, to remember. And that is that an expert is nothing other than somebody who has failed in every conceivable way in a narrow field. Which is to say, in our field, whether it be supplementation, training, diet, whatever it is, if you haven't tried something yourself and failed at it, then you have no idea what success means in relation to it or why it's worked. And an expert is nothing other than somebody who has simply failed enough to know the difference. Of course, an expert pays attention, which is a pretty big difference from people who are not experts, who may have just as much experience but haven't noted any of the changes or differences over that period of time. Being that that's my job, sorry, I got a cop over here and I'm driving around with a light on, taking a video of myself, so not exactly the smartest thing. But I have no free time, so this is the only time I have to do this type of thing. Anyway, the kids that are pushing themselves to compete, whether they're hiring me or not, there's lots of people that obviously don't hire coaches. I didn't hire a coach when I first competed. Of course, I didn't trust anybody. So that was a major thing. But anybody who's pushing themselves to compete knows exactly what it means to fail. Well, I should say within a wide margin, because there's always the 1 or 2% of people that just never lose. Lee Priest type people that just become pros at 21 or whatever. Those are very rare people. And so I really have to give props to the young people that are competing really hard and taking it very seriously, because it shows that there's like the generation nothingness thing is very real. And I don't know when it started really. It existed when I was young. The class that was right behind me was completely worthless. We even had a name for them. They were called the guff class, like the chaff or the guff, the bottom of the barrel. They were just fucking worthless. And so they would have been the generation nothingness of my generation. Consequently, or conversely, I should say, my class was full of just otherwise would have been valedictorians if they weren't in, you know, our class. The top five probably would have won that achievement in most other classes. It was just the way it was. So you get young kids now that are pushing themselves to do something that's extremely difficult against people that are older, better, more connected, whatever. And rather than say, well, I can't beat them, it's like saying, I can't beat someone on the Olympia stage if I don't have legit kicks. Well, if you don't have them, are you just going to hang it up and not show up? Or are you going to use every conceivable angle that you can think of, to try to duplicate or better a condition of that someone who's using it? Maybe they're so good that it doesn't matter what you do, they're going to win. But does that mean you don't do it? To me, it doesn't. To me, it means that you just try to be the better person and beat them anyway, whether or not it's futile. It's like if you're invaded by aliens or some other force that's 10 times stronger than you, do you just allow them to win? Or do you, go Mike Tyson on them and bite a few ears off in the process of getting annihilated? Personally, I try to find where they have balls and take them. That's just how I operate. So, these young kids, I got a 16-year-old kid who's competing now, and he's going to be up against people that are at least 19, 20. Physiologically, he's at a disadvantage, but it doesn't matter to him. He's a beast. He's going to play football. He's going to, carry on his school activities, and he's going to, train to win. So that's really cool. I'm really excited about, having people that young that are pushing themselves. And on the flip side, having people as old as 60 going at Masters Nationals. It's awesome to see people that are pushing themselves. So I just rambled for 7.5 minutes about dumb people who compete and spend all their money. No, that's not true. But I've had 35 grams of carbs today. That's really what this whole thing is. And as you can see, I am bearded, and I have a little bit of the sunken face starting in. I'm not like completely fat-faced like I was pretty much always. So the new diet's working pretty good. Doing a lot more cardio, and who gives a shit about my prep? I'm 35. If I don't win at this point, I suck. No, really though, the thing is that I've actually felt like quitting multiple times this week because I keep telling myself that I got to drive to New York 5 times in the next 2 weeks. I got to go to court for a minor accident. Somebody rear-ended me, and then there's I hit somebody in front of me after they rear-ended me, and there's this. The guy in the back of me is saying that I'm at fault, and et cetera, et cetera. I have to go to court and clear that up. I just got a lot of roadblocks coming up that are, difficult. And then I've got the wedding that I'm planning, which is still a year away, but literally every weekend I'm doing something. I'm either looking at flowers. I'm very interactive in this whole thing. And being involved in that to the level that I am would make it easy for me to say, well, I could do a show after that. But then I'll be 36 at the start of prep. And I'm feeling like Jay Cutler when he was 25 saying I should be done by the time I'm 35. Who knows what I'll actually do, whether I'll quit or not. But, I want to win now. And I would hate to not do nationals once because I qualified when I was 22 and life derailed me in such a manner that I feel like I need to come full circle and do it. And so you saw my pictures last week, and I felt like I wasn't as good as I could have been, and I should have been pushing a lot harder, I guess. I feel like I was improving, but all of a sudden I looked at it and I thought I was behind. So that's why I started this blog, was because I really wanted to motivate myself to continue and bring an absolutely crazy package like I haven't done in 10 years. I mean, I've been on stage in the last couple of years and I've looked good, but I mean, the level that I want to bring it to is a completely different thing. That you see all the time on the stage and you take it for granted. You see a guy like Lionel Biecki gets up there and you're like, oh, he's so soft. He's harder than I've fucking been, and he's way bigger and way harder than I've ever been. You gotta put things in perspective. I mean, what it takes to look like these pros is otherworldly. And, like I look at GH15's posts, and a lot of times he makes it look effortless, but I know he'll tell you that he suffered. I know that he dehydrated for 3 days before shows, and I know that he will tell you that it was hard, and that he's, downplaying that because it's just part of his makeup. Doing hard things isn't out of the ordinary for him. So that's why I started talking about the young kids competing and everyone else competing. I'm going to give you a minute of what's going to happen coming up. We've got exciting new things happening. Jason VA is going to do a blog of adding 30 pounds of, hopefully not marshmallow, to his already disgustingly handsome ass. So he's going to do a video blog, and we'll have that posted for you guys, so you guys can follow along with that. There's going to be other stuff too. There's the 275-pound freak that I showed you is going to also do video work, and so you're going to get to see exactly what a super heavy looks like in the gym dieting down. Sick stuff. And I'm going to do an interview with him this weekend as well. Matty S4, we're going to have a recap interview next weekend. Don't know the format. And lastly, the Esquire James Ledino ran into Boston Lloyd and Ariana Palumbo at the gym, and offered, he said, there's a guy here at NPC Gear, and that chick from Species is with him. I saw that's Boston Lloyd, probably. So, yeah, that's who that is. So go talk to him. See if you can get his number and see if he'll do an interview with me. And he texts me back. He goes, he was kind of weirded out about the interview. So he probably has no idea who I am. I don't think he's all that interested in the forums that much, and kind of does his own thing. But Boston, if you do see this, I think you're interesting. I think a lot of people do. I'll send you my questions ahead of time, and you can decide what you want to answer. Obviously, some of them are going to be a little bit pointed about the industry, and you can choose not to answer them, because I know that you're getting heat from all angles about what you're saying out in the open. So I'm not going to force you to do any of that, obviously. But I would like to ask questions I don't think anybody's asked of you about your own personal life and your makeup and why you bodybuild and things like that. So I think a lot of people would be interested in that. So that'll wrap it up for today. I got to run in, grab some stuff from my fiance and some mashed potatoes. Her face is exploded. She had her wisdom teeth out. So this is the first day in 6 days that she's been able to eat anything. So I'm going to feed her potatoes through a tube. Should be awesome. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.